Good morning, everyone. I want to welcome you to today's webcast on getting contact center workforce optimization right, which will be presented by industry experts from Ovum and VPI. My name is Lauren Hughes, and I'll be your host today. To avoid any interruptions, all of the attendees have been placed in listen-only mode. So if you have any questions during the webcast, please type them into the question box on your screen, and we will definitely try to answer as many of your questions as possible at the end of the webinar within the allotted hour. We will also be requesting your feedback on a brief survey after the webinar, and we thank you in advance for your participation with that. So I'd like to start by introducing Aphrodite Brinsmead. Aphrodite is a senior analyst on the customer experience and interaction team at Ovum. Aphrodite covers contact center markets and technologies. Her work primarily focuses on analyzing trends and strategies, also practices for technologies including analytics, CRM, workforce optimization, and social media. She is the esteemed author of several emerging contact center technology reports and white papers. Aphrodite holds a BE in microelectronics and software engineering from the University of Newcastle upon Tyne. I'm also pleased to introduce Patrick Boats from VPI. Patrick Boats serves as the Vice President of Workforce Optimization for VPI, which is the leading provider of contact center analytics, quality monitoring, and also workforce optimization solutions. So leveraging more than a decade of field experience as a contact center practitioner, Patrick works closely with customers to capture, analyze, and improve their customer interactions. Patrick received his bachelor's in engineering from Arizona State University, and he also has his MBA from Pepperdine University in California. Just to give you a little background on VPI, VPI is an established company, has 15-year history of providing a full portfolio of workforce optimization solutions and services to over 1,500 customers. Customers including 1-800-Flowers, Walmart, Fannie Mae, FedEx, Princess Cruises, Sony. There's also Banner Health, IBM, and PNC Bank. And VPI has several offices throughout North America and multiple sales and support partners throughout the world. So to start today, Aphrodite will discuss the changing customer expectations as well as business and contact center challenges that are driving the need for unified workforce optimization. She'll introduce you to the key components and many benefits of integrated workforce optimization. And Patrick will then share several workforce optimization case studies and key recommendations for getting started. And now I'm pleased to welcome Aphrodite.
Thanks for the introduction, Lauren. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what's driving the need for integrated workforce optimization. And I think the first thing is today's business environment. There's a number of different factors that are contributing to kind of challenges within the contact center, both from the external side, the customers. Customers are more demanding. They have access to information across the web. They are more mobile than ever before, looking for information on their smartphones, ringing into the contact center on their smartphones. And at the same time, there are a lot of internal business challenges to meet with, as well as providing value and better service to customers. Things such as tight budgets, which I'm sure is familiar to all of you, as well as siloed systems and customer data and applications across the enterprise, knowing how to connect marketing data to customer service data, and also connecting CRM applications to your workforce management and your quality monitoring. And I think we're going to go on to the next slide and talk about how these things really fit into metrics within the contact center. And I think one of the biggest challenges when looking at workforce optimization and looking at your contact center is really matching the effectiveness metrics, by which I mean, are customers getting the answers they need in their customer service? Is first call resolution rate high? Are there a lot of complaints? And balancing that with making sure that costs are kept to the minimum, that agents are performing well, and call escalation rates are kept low. And it's obviously a very kind of tight balancing act. But Ovum believes that we need to connect these traditionally siloed customer satisfaction metrics on the one hand with the agent performance metrics on the other hand. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how integrating workforce optimization will help to match up these metrics and find out how the performance impacts customer satisfaction. And then taking a step back to customer expectations, I talked a little bit about how customers are more multi-channel. They have higher expectations because they have access to more information across the web. And they really expect the business to know who they are, know what they want. For example, if they already used next day shipping on an order, is that what they want to use the next time? Do you have the right information? Do the agents have the right information to be able to explain everything about the product that the customer wants to know? Give extra insight that's not available maybe on the FAQ pages. Final combination of tools that I wanted to discuss is coaching with workforce management. And this is a pretty obvious combination as well, is that you need to ensure that you're not taking agents away from their job. You don't want to cut the call volume when the high call volumes are coming in. You don't want to take the agents away from their job and put them on a training course. And so if you integrate coaching with workforce management, you're looking at the way that to deliver the coaching without impacting the call handling and the service levels, you're optimizing the agent time. The agents aren't sitting around waiting for the calls to come in. They're on the training course, or they're taking calls when they're at the right time. I think that's pretty obvious, the benefits of that from a cost savings and a customer satisfaction point of view. Really, although I've just talked about a few examples here, I think there's many different combinations of workforce optimization. You might not just want to look at 2 tools at the same time. You might want to use 3 or more to look at a specific business objective. And that brings me on to the next slide, which is that I believe these things really need to be matched to your business objectives. And rather than starting from looking at which workforce optimization tools you want to deploy, you should really look at the business objective. So for example, quality monitoring and interaction analytics that I talked about at the beginning, there's two key benefits to this, which is being able to uncover issues and opportunities faster. So you might want to be pinpointing those calls where the customer is going to cancel their contract. And by using analytics, you can quickly look through these specific calls and find out what the issue is. And you're also reducing the manager workloads. And then, for example, coaching and performance management, you're looking at both agents' efficiency and effectiveness from the customer satisfaction point of view. And then customer satisfaction, what's the best way to improve that is you need a combination of feedback from the customer, whether it's through surveys or analytics. And you need to also look at internal factors that are impacting that customer satisfaction so that you can improve them. And then finally, agent productivity. What's the best way to get the most out of your agents? By looking at their schedule, looking at when you want them to answer calls, and matching coaching and training fitting it in at the right moments in their schedule. And I just added one more here at the end, which is quality monitoring and performance management. So looking at the quality of calls, ensuring that reporting and manager workloads are kept to the minimum. And this is just kind of a quick overview of some of the tools that can be combined together, and I think Patrick on the next few slides is going to talk about some very specific examples with 2 or more tools integrated together.
Great. Thank you so much, Aphrodite and Lauren, for the wonderful introduction. Really excited today to be able to share workforce optimization tools and how they work together. The beauty, as Aphrodite mentioned, is you don't have to have an entire suite of these tools. They're all modular, so you can add them at any point, at any time, to existing applications as well. So if you already have workforce management, you can add performance management and or coaching on top of that and surveying to that. And the key here, I think, is just integrating the tools you already have. So even if you don't have a complete workforce optimization suite from one vendor, there's really a lot of value in integrating the tools you have and then adding on additional tools that you don't have. And I'll go through some examples of some of the things you'll be able to do with a unified workforce optimization suite and what, kind of a day in the life of a contact center would be like. And is like for several organizations that have unified workforce optimization. So the first example here is your favorite wireless company. You pick your favorite, YFWC here, and they're launching the new iPhone S. I want you to kind of picture whatever scenario or campaign you might be running in your industry or at your company. So whether it's healthcare, financial services, utilities, whatever it may be, this case example can apply to any industry in any example. But in this case, we're launching the new 4S iPhone. The goal is really to maximize first contact resolution. First contact resolution is the most highly correlated metric to customer satisfaction. It's often a 1-to-1. If not higher correlation between FCR and customer satisfaction. So we're trying to maximize that. And we're also, as many organizations today are trying to upsell the new iPhone 4S to previous 3GS business users. So trying to get them on the new phone model to make them more sticky. A lot of our customer service representatives are now being asked to do some selling, right? So this is not uncommon. We're going to show you how we can do this with integrated workforce optimization. The first thing is we're going to actually tag the following data from their CRM system to every call to identify repeat calls and upsell attempts with no sales. So there's a tool, if you're not familiar with it, it's called Desktop Analytics. It's a fantastic low-cost analytics tool that allows you to pull anything from the desktop that the agent is using and actually tag it to your recorded calls. So traditionally when you're recording calls, you just get the length of the call, the agent that took the call, maybe the incoming number, the time and date of that call. So you have very limited value or fields to search for to find the calls that matter most to you. So by tagging additional data such as customer ID, disposition or reason codes, order ID, the product that was upsold, the sale amount, you can now use that information not only to search for those calls that are important to you, but to automatically bucket the calls that are important to you. And we'll show you that here in a second. So the way desktop analytics works, and again, it's pennies on the dollar to other types of analytics like speech analytics or text analytics. It's very cost efficient. Essentially what we're doing is just connecting to the application that your agent's using, either through a back-end API, which a lot of applications have today, so it's easy to pull data, or we do what's called screen that screen analytics, we're actually pulling it from the actual agent screen. This is used more for homegrown applications, things of that nature, where there's no easily accessible API. But what you're doing is basically tagging that data. So account number, case ID, the phone model, disposition code, the notes, all this gets tagged to the call. And if you look below in the media player, you can see it's actually tagged to the recording. And all that is now searchable and can be used in business rules to send these calls to people that want to listen to them, should there be certain things they're interested in. So essentially what analytics allows us to do is take not only the call audio and the screen video, so we're typically recording full-time screen video now because of the limitations of storage and so forth. The cost has gone down so much that most people are recording full-time screen video. Also, bandwidth, there's ways to send the files after the call so that the screen video files don't take up much bandwidth. So most people are doing full-time recording of screen and audio. And then taking the call metadata from the phone system, and then application data that we just talked about from the screens and tagging it to the call, as well as adding ACD and dialer metrics, DTR information where available. And then basically, you decide what buckets of interactions. It could be just calls, it could be emails, web chat, calls, any kind of interaction. But you decide what buckets you want. So you basically create your buckets and then create a business rule to dump those calls into those buckets. So for first contact resolution, we're going to look for repeat calls, right? For customer retention, Aphrodite mentioned, canceled accounts. What we're going to do is every time a customer cancels their account or cancels their order, we want to bucket that so we can listen to why people are canceling accounts, why people are canceling orders. Again, most of us, when we do quality monitoring today, we do kind of a random sample so we can ensure fairness to the agent. But a lot of times what a random sample does, it just gives you a lot of low-value calls. So evaluating low-value calls just adds to the cost of an already very expensive call. You can still do random sampling on your QM. You're just going to randomly sample now canceled accounts. Every agent takes calls where they cancel their account. You want to know how they handled those calls. Did they handle them effectively? So you're still grading the agent fairly, but now you're actually able to figure out why customers are canceling their account and actually proactively take steps to mitigate that. Some other things we talked about, accelerating sales, right? So upsell attempts where there's no sale. That's one in this particular case that we're going to want to monitor and actually bucket those calls to figure out why, what's going on. Is this something, the agents, are they not able to answer the right questions when people are asking questions about the iPhone 4S and they're just not successfully upselling them from the 3S phone. And then PSAC compliance, the beauty of desktop analytics is it also allows you to mask and mute out credit card information because it knows when you go into a screen where there's credit card information and when you leave that screen. And during that period, you can actually mask and mute the credit card information so that no one can access that inappropriately. So what were the campaign results, right? So here we see this is a performance management dashboard. So we're moved from quality monitoring combined with analytics to performance management. So all in performance management is basically a KPI reporting tool that allows agents, supervisors, managers, and executives to have real-time insights into all their key performance indicators. So in this case, the manager sees that the FCR rate is disappointing, poor FCR rate for this campaign. There's higher incoming call volume than is expected, higher handle times, and poor upsell conversion rate. So a lot of issues. The campaign's not going as well as initially planned. And, since FCR is obviously one of the key goals, the management team decides, all right, this is what we're going to focus on first, and then we'll focus on conversion rates and upselling next. So we're going to dive into FCR. And what do you really need to measure FCR, right? So some people do it, on customer surveys after the call. They'll say, was your call resolved? The issue with that is that the customer can call back in 30 days later, and even though they thought their bill was fixed, the address on the bill was fixed, it wasn't when they got their next bill in the mail. So it's not the most accurate way of measuring FCR. Some people do it through quality monitoring. Again, if you evaluate a call and you say, yep, it looks like the agent solved the issue, do you really know if that customer called in again? They may have. So the most accurate way to measure first contact resolution, and a great way to do it using performance management, is basically you just need to know who is the customer, why are they contacting you, and when did they last contact you for the same reason. If you know those three things, you can pull those repeat calls together very easily. So at YFWC, they are capturing who is the customer from the application, so they're tagging that to the call so they know from the account ID who the customer is. And it may be something you capture through the IVR, or maybe you have an incoming phone number that you can capture, or maybe the agent answers it. So there's a lot of ways of capturing customer ID, but you want to capture that, tag that to the call recording. And then why are they contacting you? In this case, we're capturing the reason code. So a lot of organizations use reason or disposition codes, or even easier, a case ID, right? Case ID, if a call comes in with the same case ID or service ticket ID, you know for sure that it's about the same reason. But if you don't have a case ID, you need to know, all right, it's coming from the same customer, and we have a reason code here. Another good thing about desktop analytics is people often call in for multiple reasons, right? Maybe they want to check something on their bill, they want to order a new product, they want to cancel something. Multiple things could be going on. Well, with desktop analytics, it's basically just following your agents through their screen. So you can tag multiple disposition codes automatically to the calls, just knowing what screens they went into. If they took a credit card, they know that there was an order completed. So you're not relying on the agent. But if you are relying on your agent, which most organizations do today to enter reason codes or disposition codes, a good best practice is to actually QA whether they enter the right disposition code. So if you're actually evaluating to that and they're getting scored on that, then they're more likely to not select general inquiry and actually select the right disposition code. And then when did they last contact you for the same reason? So in this case, we're going to say within 7 days. They don't contact us, we consider it resolved. In your department or organization, it may be 30 days, 60 days. Every call can have a different length that you want to measure FCR within. So, and that's definable within the workforce optimization tools. So then the system will basically say, all right, out of all the repeat calls that are happening, what are the main reasons people are calling in about? For, why are they calling in again? And you can see the buckets: website errors, order status, product issues, billing inquiries, password resets. These are not uncommon, but these are the reasons people are calling in again. And then you see the system. The great thing about capturing case ID and account ID is the system will automatically pull together all those calls. So when you go to play back a call, you're not just listening to the last call. You're listening to every call they called in within the last 7 days or 30 days or 60 days, whatever you define. And you're able to evaluate the entire customer experience. So, when Aphrodite mentioned, how analytics really helps improve the customer experience, you're not only able to find, those calls that are important to you, but you're getting the entire customer experience of that issue or that opportunity. And then the manager can check their dashboard. Again, the managers typically have tickers or dashboards. So some people prefer more of a graphical view like this. Some people prefer a ticker, which just docks above your existing application. It's always on. You can always see how teams are performing. This is something more of a dashboard where you actually go to, or you could put these up on wall boards. A lot of contact centers put the dashboards up on wall boards and show how teams are performing against each other to motivate them and see how they're standing and how queues are doing. This is also really great for at-home agents. At-home agents don't have wall boards, so to allow them to have a ticker and a dashboard to see how they're doing gives them basically a sense of community and knowing where they stand at all times. In this case, this is the first contact resolution chart that this manager added to their dashboard, and they're able to see that 81% of the repeat calls this month have been because of billing inquiries. It's not uncommon. This is what we call, Pareto chart, where you kind of have this 80-20 rule quite a bit show up. And in this case, it's billing inquiries. So you can actually just click on the bar chart here and actually drill down to all the repeat calls that were billing inquiries and actually listen to them right from there. Or you can send them off for quality monitoring. So you might want your quality monitoring team to listen to them and actually figure out what the root cause was. If you can figure out why billing inquiries are coming in, then you basically solved 81% of your repeat calls, and then you can go down the line next to order status, product defect, and so forth, and just kind of take it down the line. And that's what a lot of our customers do, just focus on what the key issue is, and they go to the next one. But the beauty is the workforce optimization tools tell you what those issues are. So then, I mentioned you might want to send these off to quality monitoring. You send them off to QA, they get dispersed to the QA team, and every QA evaluator, whether it be your supervisors or you have a QA team that is separate from the supervisory team, they get their to-do list. So, and it tells them why their calls, what was this type of call. In this case, it's a repeat billing inquiry. It's scheduled for me, and what you'll want to do, and this is just, when Aphrodite mentioned people, processes, and technology, the technology will schedule it, but you also need to add a question to your QM form. So you have your standard QA forms. You want to add a question, why was the issue not resolved, right? So this will allow you to gather additional data on why there are so many repeat billing inquiries coming in. And so the agent, you'll still ask the agent questions. Did the agent do this? Did the agent do that? But you're going to ask it one more question that actually allows you to gather data. In this case, the agents weren't disclosing fees associated with electronic payments, and they're providing unclear and incorrect information. There's also typically non-agent related issues surrounding first call resolution. If you have a project, you probably know that it's not always related to the contact center, right? So maybe 2/3 of the issues we can solve within the contact center through training and better knowledge management. But a lot of times it's outside. It's something marketing is doing that's driving calls, or logistics, or some sort of product defect, or something related to your service that is causing issues. In this case, it was difficult to find information on the website, so people are calling in again. So you want to do that to capture additional data, and then you can run reports on what were the key issues that are causing repeat calls. So knowing all this, what are we going to do to solve first contact resolution, right? And again, if first contact resolution isn't that important in your organization, maybe it's sales, maybe it's collections, whatever it is, you can still apply the same tools to that issue. So an action plan for the issue you're solving, in this case, we're going to do coaching and training, right? A lot of of the issues revolved around agent training. They weren't disclosing payment fees, things like that. So we're going to train them on electronic payment strategies and other billing skills. We're going to train agents to upsell and cross-sell additional services. We're also going to route calls to the best agents with high skill scores. So the beauty of integrating QA with your routing is that way you're basically routing the call. The best agents are taking the calls from customers that have the toughest issues or your most important VIP customers. We have one customer that, based on their coaching scores, they get skills assigned to them. So if they pass certain coaching modules or certain coaching or e-learning quizzes, they actually get assigned skills to them, and then they route tougher calls to those agents based on the skills that they've achieved through their e-learning. So reduce call volume using virtual call agents. If you're not familiar with virtual call agents, it's kind of the next generation of IVR. It's a hosted IVR with a brain, essentially, that has a more conversational flow. Or if you have a current IVR, you can try to automate your billing question processing that way. And then adding common inquiries and processes to the self-service website. So what does coaching look like, right? So many of you may be familiar with e-learning, right? A lot of organizations have kind of corporate e-learning where mainly used for onboarding, right? We're bringing on new agents. We have a lot of policies and procedures and things like that. They have to take e-learning courses. And as you know, e-learning is wonderful for self-paced training. The difference between coaching and e-learning, and it's kind of one and the same, but it's basically coaching integrates with the performance metrics. So it's really e-learning. You can deliver any type of content, but it's always monitoring the performance metrics of that agent. In this case, here's an example. You can actually add coaching to your QA question. So you just add an action to your QA question. If they fall below your goal of 8 out of 10 on that question, you know, how much did the agent know about the customer's issue, then you can select the coaching course that you want to automatically be delivered to that agent's desktop. And the real great thing about that is you don't have to rely on every supervisor to ensure that they're coaching on those topics. So you may have different departments, different shifts. Everyone, if they get that question wrong or below the goal, will automatically receive that coaching. So it's a really uniform consistency of training across your enterprise. So then you take it a step further, and Aphrodite mentioned, well, what if we integrated coaching with workforce management, right? Then you're even maximizing the time they take that e-learning or that coaching course. So here you can see this is an agent ticker at YFWC. So Stacey Adams has her own real-time ticker. She has 4 coaching courses assigned to her. She can see all her key performance metrics that she's measured on. She can even see adherence, right? We're pulling a workforce management metrics, so she can see how she stands in terms of adherence. And also QA metrics. You can see she's at 91% here. There's a compliance score of 98%. She's doing really well in compliance on QA on that scale. And basically, performance management allows you to consolidate information from multiple systems throughout your contact center. And again, it doesn't have to be the same vendor, right? So you can pull in workforce management metrics from virtually any workforce management system out there and pull them into your performance tickers for the agents to see. They can also see their schedules, so they can see how they're doing, you know, sign-in, break, lunches, all of that. It's just available on the ticker, and the ticker just has little tabs on the right that they can tap through to see how they're standing. This one's usually thicker than most tickers. I'll show you an example. One of our customers, they made them super thin, and they're always on, right? They're always docked above the existing application. It doesn't have to be on the main screen. If you have 2 monitors, it could be on the left-hand or right-hand monitor. It could be vertical, it could be horizontal, however you like. You basically just drag and drop the metrics into the tickers that you want to show. And then when the queues are low and the call volumes are low, you can have workforce management. You create a coaching job in your workforce management system, and you automatically, the agents will automatically get a pop-up that says one of your coaching assignments is now scheduled to be started. They click on that. From that time, it starts logging the time that they started it. It logs how long they spent in coaching, and it actually tracks how well they did on each question and how long they spent on each question to get a myriad of great reports. And then you can actually even track the impact that training is having on your other performance metrics. This is also a great tool to be able to just monitor the time that your supervisors are spending coaching. Even if it's not an e-learning assignment, you just basically start the coaching session and end it, and then you're able to track how long we spent coaching, how long each agent is getting coaching on certain topics, and then you can see if it's affecting their performance over time. So the final integration in this example is setting up timely alerts. So if you're familiar with Lean Six Sigma, you have the define, measure, analyze, improve, control. This is kind of the control phase, right, where we want to set up alerts to notify the customer save team based on customer survey, based on feedback. So if you look up top in the list of interactions, of calls here, you can see that we're gathering a lot of data from desktop analytics, the customer ID, the call disposition, the agent name, the sale amount. The customer satisfaction score is actually coming from the customer survey. And here you can see at 47%, they have a rule that says if it's below 60%, automatically flag this call and send it off to the customer save team to try to go save that customer. And you can see there's even a call disposition here of canceled account. So we're going to try to get this customer back. But there's a lot of things you can do with rules. The key is just tagging more and more data to your interactions. So if you're only getting the length of the call, the date and time of the call, you really can't do much with that, right? So, but if you can tag anything that your agent sees on their screen from their applications to your call, now you have a lot of data that you can run rules on and send notifications and alerts and assign things for QM. A lot of value there. So now I want to actually share a case study. One of our customers, 1-800-Flowers, they've been a customer for almost 10 years now, and a very progressive company with a rich history for excellent service and sales as well. They have virtually all at-home agents now. When we started with them, they were primarily brick and mortar, using some outsources as well. And now they've transitioned everything to at-home agent environment. These tools really help the at-home agents in terms of being able to know where they stand at all times. So they have a pretty complex technology environment. You can see here by all the different tools. There's Pipkins for workforce management, maybe email management tools, different ACDs and dollars and so forth. They also support a variety of successful brands. So not only do they sell flowers, but virtually any type of, from gardening supplies to, things that you might see in an airline magazine, right? All the nice tools, home improvement tools, things like that, and different foods and chocolates and so forth. So their main challenges are they have very seasonal call volume peaks. So you have the winter holiday season where they start to see a peak. And then obviously around Valentine's Day and Mother's Day is really where things take off. So they needed to be able to very quickly staff up to these, and they're using outsourced partners and so forth, and at-home agents and flex scheduling and in a combination of things. But they also are very keen on making sure that when those calls come in, that they maximize the sales and customer loyalty and repeat business on those interactions. So their goal is they had a very aggressive sales and service goals. They wanted to increase the productivity of both agents and managers, and they wanted to identify performance gaps more easily. So, right, a lot of times they would know till the end of the week, or sometimes the reports were at the end of the month, and they didn't really, because by then it's too late to change a campaign. So real-time reporting and performance management was key to them, knowing where they stood at all times throughout all levels of the organization so that everyone knew where they stood and they were going towards the same goals, essentially. They're all rowing the same direction. So they also wanted to invest in integrated e-learning tools. So basically the tools that they utilize, the workforce optimization tool sets, performance management, workforce management, coaching, and then also surveying. And you'll see surveying is also a key part to their strategy. So here's what an example of a consolidated report looks like. You can see some of the KPIs that are important to them. All these reports you're able to drill down on and drill down into the teams. Anything that's underlined could be drilled down on. But total orders taken, total sales calls, conversion rate, availability, total credits issued. At credits is a big one, right? They don't want to just give out credits to anyone. It's kind of the easy way out, if you will. So they monitor that. And then they have points per hour, which is their internal metric. And the beauty of performance management system is you can create your own metrics. You can create a points per hour metric. You may have a productivity metric. And it may be a combination of metrics that you get from your ACD, maybe some from your CRM system. And you can create your own metrics that are important to you. And I think that's a key point for a lot of people, that when they get performance management, they're like, oh, this is so great. We had different ACDs and they reported things to us differently, or we merged with the company and, you know, we were getting different metrics and, you know, we weren't sure if they're consistent. Well, performance management allows you to basically consolidate those metrics and create uniform metrics across your entire enterprise. So here's an example of their tickers. They have several different tickers. These are just some of them. They're actually pretty unique in that not only do they drag and drop the metrics that they wanted in each of these various tickers, but they also allow, depending on the type of call that comes in, whether it's popcorn or flowers or chocolate, they get different tickers. So agents get tickers related to that product, to that campaign. And so the first four tickers here, one of them actually rotates. The second one, it's not usually that fast, but I just want to show you an example. You can see their training assignments that are assigned to them. These are personalized training assignments based on agent metrics, and they can also see where they stand on credits and average credit and messaging. Many customers use these tickers just to send out messages to the entire team. Maybe there's a new product or compliance bulletin that they need to send out, or maybe they want to send reminders. Could be something positive, hey, great job on this, and it could be automated, or it could be sent manually to everyone. The beauty is you have to actually click on that message. So you click on the message to accept it. If the container is not damaged, remember, replace only the flowers. Click on that, click OK. Then the manager gets a report of everyone that clicked and acknowledged on that message. So that alone, just the messaging feature, is very powerful. So when you click on the ticker, the agents each have access to their own real-time scorecard, so they can see daily, weekly, monthly, how they're doing versus their target and versus their group. Again, very important to not only show target, but show group results. They may be ahead of target, but how is that in relationship to the group, right? Agents want to do well. They're by nature, they're competitive. Just showing them real-time information almost immediately improves performance across the board. So you just have to make sure you're showing them the right metrics. And then some of the alerts and messages that they have in place. If conversion rate percentage is less than 50% and they've taken at least 10 calls, then the manager gets notified, the supervisor, so they can actually look in and discover what some of the issues might be. The third bullet here is interesting. The average sales less than $52. So, you call in, think you're buying roses for $29.95. They don't upsell you to 52, and you've taken at least 10 orders, then, the supervisor also gets notified. And then they also trigger alerts for sales and service on customer satisfaction scores. So they've integrated surveying into performance management as well. Here's an example of a coaching report card. So every time a coaching assignment or an e-learning assignment is assigned, you get a list of who passed that. You can drill down on these links here of the user and actually find out how they did on each question. And then you can actually track the impact that training has had on performance. Some of the significant results that they achieved, this within the first year, was 5 additional sales per agent per day, a 3% increase in sales conversions, and a significant decrease in required FTEs. They received a payback on their investment in integrated workforce optimization in less than 60 days. So just by showing real-time information, integrating the coaching, the customer survey tools, they were able to achieve rapid success and still doing well with these tools. At this point, I'd like to turn it over to Aphrodite to make some final recommendations before we open it up to Q&A.
Thanks, Patrick. And I just have 5 key takeaways from today's webinar, and hopefully you'll have heard us talk about these throughout the last hour. And the first one is really what I was talking about before, about integrating the applications but relating those to specific business goals, whether it's customer retention or process improvement, so you want to look at manager workloads or script adherence. You really should define the goal before and set some targets before you look at which applications you want to combine together. And this also helps you to monitor the progress and ensure that you're getting the best value, you're getting maybe a return on investment from the applications that you're integrating and deploying. The next thing, which is very important, is to prioritize customer needs. So you really need to understand what it is that customers want in order to meet their demands. And we think the 2 core technologies for this are customer feedback and analytics to assess what the agents are asking for. And once you have this information, you should then kind of tie this back and pull it into internal processes, use it to define training for agents and educate agents about the right types of products, the right types of issues, so they're prepared to answer them. And then using analytics to understand customer behavior, I mentioned this briefly, but you really need to look at the way that customers are behaving, as well as listening to their feedback. Is great from surveys, but it also might be quite limited. So you also want to perhaps look at what are the questions that customers are asking, are they satisfied with the service they're receiving, and how can you use this information to then look at new solutions, new processes, compare historical data, and move forward in a very proactive, efficient way. And also to improve the training of agents. And then my 4th point is to link workforce optimization tools. And this is what we've been talking about throughout the webinar, about understanding which solutions, where you can match the coaching, for example, with the performance scores, or performance with the customer feedback, to really improve the value of the solutions that you may already have or that you may be looking to deploy and get more business benefits from them. And finally, I think it's important to plan for multi-channel contact center. Customers do want flexible ways to communicate, and they're already beginning to look at things like social media and FAQ pages and forums and things. You need to incorporate text-based channels as well as just voice, and look at the performance across all channels, whether it's through analytics or surveys or performance management internally, in order to equip agents properly to handle inquiries across the channels. And yeah, agents need to be trained to determine whether they're answering queries in email or voice or maybe web chat, and linking everything together to make sure everything's consistent. And that's all the recommendations I had, so thank you.
Great, thanks, Aphrodite. We got some great questions. First question we've gotten from several people is, is the webcast being recorded, and will there be the PowerPoint made available afterward? And absolutely, we'll be sending those out to you. We also have a white paper that Aphrodite's authored on the subject of getting workforce optimization right that we'll be sending you. It's a great guide that covers a lot of what we talked today and even more in depth on best practices and strategies for creating a unified workforce optimization program. And also when you invite you to join my LinkedIn group, Call Center Experts, so we share a lot of best practices around workforce optimization and several other topics. It's a very active community, and it's free to join, so just look up Call Center Experts on LinkedIn. We also have some questions around additional financial benefits. Like here's one here. Which tools have you seen the most impact on? And in my experience working with our customers, in terms of the quickest impact is typically performance management. Real-time performance management with coaching is absolutely one of those things, especially if you're in a kind of a sales, a collections, any kind of service environment where you are measuring. There's some key objectives and some key metrics you're trying to pursue. It is virtually immediate. I mean, within days to weeks, you're going to see a major improvement in performance just by showing them their real-time metrics and then triggering coaching. You do have to spend a little bit of time converting some of your existing training content into e-learning content, but we can help with that. And there's also companies that's all they do is help convert your content. If you're taking agents home or starting an at-home agent program and you want to convert content over, there's a lot of companies that do that. But just showing them real-time metrics is massive in terms of improvement. And the other one we've seen is desktop analytics. Speech analytics is great. There's a lot of benefits, but it takes a while to get up and running, and it can be very costly just because all the processing power, and it's not as accurate. If desktop analytics is 100% accurate, every time an agent goes into the screen, the customer ID is there, or the canceled account, or the sales value, it's going to pull that and tag to the call. And it's pennies on the dollar, and you can really quickly identify issues, find them, the issues, and then fix them quickly using desktop analytics is probably one of the best investments today. And then virtual call agents is also a great one because voice self-service has been so bad for so many years that customers love self-service when it's done well, and virtual agents do self-service really well. So we have another question around mixing and matching. Can you mix and match these applications with homegrown applications or existing applications? And absolutely yes. They're all modular, so all the way from call recording to quality monitoring to surveying and performance management coaching. It's all mix and match, and these days, vendors have been smarter about opening up their applications and their APIs so that more integrations can be completed easier. So a lot of people are integrating their applications, and typically it doesn't cost too much. There's just typically some services fees around integrating those, but the value is tremendous. And if you'd like help creating a return on investment, we have a calculator that we can help you with and help you make the business case. If you'd like to integrate or add additional workforce optimization modules to what you already have, we can definitely help you there. So. All right, I think at this point we're a couple minutes over, but wanted to, if we didn't get to your questions, we'll be sure to via email or via phone. And wanted to thank you for your time today, and look forward to the opportunity to working with you in the near future. Thanks so much.
Thank you.